Everybody, Andy here again, down on the beach once again. Lovely place, always like to come down here and do a vlog. Got the day off and I thought, well, haven't done the vlog for about a week, so I thought I'd come down, have a little walk. Tide's going out, virtually out now, and so why not, eh? What I wanted to talk about today actually was something that came out in a conversation I was talking to someone with via text, comments as per usual on videos, etc. about your internet tipping point. And I was talking about the internet recently, about how it's become essential for some people. I know some people, it's not a utility as such as, water and electricity and shelter and all those. I totally understand that, but it's becoming very, very important for people. And it's becoming increasingly important. And the point I was sort of having this conversation, got this idea from, was that sort of tipping point for your internet use. We all come onto the internet, we dabble however long you've been on the internet, and I really can't remember how long I've been on the internet. Maybe I ought to think about it and have done a bit of research about this before I started talking about it, to find out exactly how long I've been online. I think it's quite some time. Obviously the ease of getting online, the ease of use of online, now the speeds have increased greatly, etc. All those sites and things that we can do, those applications, whatever, that we can now use as making us use the internet more and more, hence it becoming more and more essential for certain people. But there, in any sort of use, there always comes what they call a tipping point, which I think Malcolm Gladwell in his book some years ago was talking about tipping points, and he sort of coined that phrase. That sort of point where something literally tips over and it then becomes the byword, it then becomes more or less essential, and it gets into the wider world, that point where everyone becomes aware of it. And also you can use it in the analogy here as well, where your internet use suddenly becomes that much different. There's always a point, and you can identify it in probably any walk of life or any aspect, I suppose, where you can say, that was the moment that it changed for me, when I realised that the internet had become something a bit different. Not just an idle use of different things, for using it for email or something like that, but changed somehow, and you started using it differently. So that's my question, is when did that happen for you? Because I'm sure it has. Maybe it hasn't yet. Maybe you're still there, you haven't been on the internet that long, or you don't use it that much, you're still finding your feet, shall we say. Others of us, as I said, have been around for quite a number of years. Something that I've always been interested in, so maybe that's an aspect of it. If you're interested in technology, if you're interested in that type of thing anyway, as with any other walk of life, you'll get more naturally drawn towards it, and that tipping point in your use will come that much earlier. For me, I think the tipping point for me, as I said, I've been on the internet for quite a number of years, but it was the use of YouTube. Hence this video, hence the fact that it's being posted on YouTube, I suppose. It was when I got onto there that I started to use the internet differently. And that's the point, really. When did you start to use the internet differently? The use of being able to put yourself on the internet in a completely different way. And I think YouTube was that tipping point for a lot of people. If people respond to this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether it be by comment but by video as well, I would suspect that a lot of the people, you're watching it on YouTube, obviously that makes a difference, but I would suspect that you probably, like me, it was that point where you suddenly, without maybe realising it, it's only when you look back and say, I've only just sort of realised it myself by thinking about it, so this may have planted the thought in your mind as well. It was then coming on here, using the internet differently, using it completely differently, putting yourself out there, maybe being able to express yourself, whether it be in vlogs, whether, any type of video you want to watch, or even using the internet, watching different things, which led you onto different things, led you onto different sites. It was that social networking aspect, I think, and that's the first sort of social networking site that I got onto. And I know YouTube is not usually viewed as a social networking site, although I believe it is, and I suspect you probably do as well. So that's the one for me. For lots of different reasons, it's pushed me on to so many other things, especially the social networking side. It's got me onto other sites, it's enabled me to meet people, it's enabled me to do this type of thing, which I would never have done before. And so I use the internet far more now than I've ever done, and increasingly more so, but it was YouTube for me that was the tipping point that brought me to where I am now. and pushes me forward, which is the reason that I still use YouTube just as much. It's still the first page, apart from my home page, which I've often said is the BBC News site. It's the first site that I go to after that, apart from checking the emails, you know. Still harking back to the old days in that respect. So there you go. I use other sites. I use Facebook increasingly. I use Twitter, and I use lots of other sites, as we all do, and use the internet for lots of different things. But for me, YouTube was the the tipping point. So there you go. That's my question. What was your tipping point for the internet? Have you reached it yet? Maybe you haven't. And do you agree with me that there is a point like that? And maybe there is for you, maybe there isn't. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there and continue my nice little walk along the beach. You can see the sea behind me there. I know people like these beach vlogs, so there you go. That's the question. I shall leave it there. Thanks very much. I shall speak to you again soon. Goodbye.